Welcome cinephiles to another episode of Frame by Frame, a series dedicated to the craft of filmmaking. Now as a kid, I remember turning on the TV and seeing a city in flames, but over the shrieks and rattle of gunfire, one sound prevailed. The battle cry of Godzilla, king of the monsters. But he's not the only monster king that's recently awoken in Japan. I'm talking about Toho, the production company responsible for creating everyone's favorite reptilian ruler. And this year, they've rebooted the kaiju franchise with Godzilla Resurgence. So in commemoration of Toho's 29th Godzilla film, I'm gonna take you back to 1954. The year Ishiro Honda and Ichi Tsuburaya created not just Godzilla, but Tokusatsu, a new method of making monsters. Now, if you wanted to put a giant monster on screen in the early 20th century, you better have some time, especially considering stop-motion animation was the industry go-to since the 1930s, thanks to the wondrous works of Willis O'Brien and Ray Harryhausen. But stop motion is a painstaking process, done a frame at a time, and in Japan, there was a lack of talented stop motion artists. Now, director Ishiro Honda did have special effects genius Eiji Tsuburaya at his disposal, but what Honda didn't have was time. Toho gave him just 6 months to shoot Godzilla, and if Tsuburaya created the monster using stop motion, he was gonna need a little bit more time than that. About 6.5 more years to be exact. So, cue chaos. So Tsuburaya vowed that if there wasn't a time-effective way to make the movie, he'd invent one. The result? Tokusatsu, Japanese for special filming. A process involving men in rubber suits, miniature sets, puppets, and frame rate manipulation. Does that sound absurd? Yeah, but was it effective? Definitely. And I'll show you how, starting with this fella, the man in the suit. That's actor Haruo Nakajima stuffed inside a nearly 100-kilogram suit, likely praying for death in his rubber sarcophagus. But Nakajima stomped around miniature sets like these for 3 minutes at a time whenever Tsuburaya needed full-body shots of Godzilla. For shots that only featured Godzilla from the waist down, the original suit was cut in half and fitted with suspenders, but this method, dubbed suitmation, would become a staple of future Toho productions. But what about those iconic close-ups of Godzilla unleashing his atomic breath? Shots like these were created using a mechanical hand-operated puppet, one that shot steam from its mouth to help sell the kaiju's radioactive rays. So Tsuburaya had a specialized puppet or suit to accommodate any effects challenge. The world's Godzilla smashed to pieces, however, were miniature sets. Many were cracked, doused in gasoline, or rigged with explosive charges to aid in their eventual destruction. And while Toyland burned around him, production filmed Nakajima's best dinosaur impressions using a high frame rate. That way Godzilla's movements appeared slow, cumbersome, further selling the illusion of his enormous size. Other elements, miniature explosions or fleeing extras for example, were filmed separately. Then all of these elements were combined into a single image, like this one via optical printing. But Tsuburaya and Honda ultimately beat the beast of production, and Godzilla rose from the sea to become an international success. But what about Tsuburaya's Tokusatsu process? Well, its legacy lived on throughout the rest of Toho's Godzilla franchise, which breaks down into basically 3 eras: the Showa, the Heisei, and the Millennium. Now let's look at the Showa era. The infamous monster brawls that defined this period relied on men in suits, or suitmation, doing unspeakably stupid stuff like this. And even more regrettably, this. The Heisei era, although, leaned on VFX, turning most monster beasts into the equivalent of high-stakes battles of laser tag.
ゴジラ対メカゴジラ
But even here, we've got miniatures, suitmation, and puppetry at play. The models and suits may be more intricate, yes, and even more so in the Millennium era to follow, but the same tokusatsu principles underpin them all. Now let's follow the Futurians back to 2016. Toho released Godzilla Resurgence, a spiritual remake of the original 1954 film. Directors Shinji Higuchi and Hideaki Anno have resurrected Godzilla using a blend of motion capture, puppetry, frame rate manipulation, and CGI, an unconventional recipe Shinji Higuchi used on his last two films, Attack on Titan Part 1 and 2, as well as this batshit crazy Subaru commercial. Here, Higuchi used real actors to portray the Titans. For Resurgence, Higuchi cast Mansai Nomaru to play Godzilla. His performance was recorded using motion capture, then augmented with CGI, except for shots like these. That, my friends, is not just a puppet, but likely the creepiest f***ing puppet ever made. Put to screen the same way Higuchi created the colossal Titan shown here. These puppets, operated by several puppeteers, were shot against green screens and tweaked with CGI, and like Tsoburaya's use of slow motion to gift OG Godzilla a sense of scale, Higuchi uses high frame rates to slow his monster's movements down too, the exact same idea in play over 60 years later. As you can see, Ishiro Honda and Eiji Tsoburaya's tokusatsu method didn't just create cinema's greatest monster. The use of miniatures, suitmation, puppetry, and frame rate manipulation influenced every one of Toho's bestial battles to come, Godzilla Resurgence included. And whether he's on humanity's side or not, I know the kid in me will always say, "Go, go, Godzilla." Godzilla! Now we humans have one advantage over Godzilla: we're faster. A skill we have in common with this month's Loot Crate theme, speed. A victory lap for pop culture's swiftest superheroes. But while they race towards the finish line, let's talk about the savings you could have with Loot Crate. It's a monthly subscription service that delivers a crate like this one to your door every month. Similar to August anti-hero crate shown here, each box contains pop culture inspired gadgets and gear. A $40 value for less than $20 a month. All you need to do is sign up by the September 19th cutoff at 9 p.m. Pacific to get your loot. So, if you'd like to join, follow the URL on screen and enter the code FRAME to save 10% on your subscription. It's one deal you shouldn't let pass you by. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure to subscribe to this channel, Film Theory, for more fantastic film-related content. If you'd like to check out more Frame by Frame, click the frame to the left. Or if you'd like to check out a Film Theory episode on Ghostbusters, click the frame to the right. And until next time, my name is Kyle, and this has been Frame by Frame.